My name is Vicki Dillon.
Hello, Vicky.
Hi!
So, Vicky, I know you from being introduced to you by my nurse, my old nurse, Anne, who basically said to me, there's this other fantastic lady that you should talk to. And I remember messaging you a few times in the night saying, Vicky, I've overdosed on meds or something, I'm going to die, or I haven't taken my meds, am I going to die? And you kind of got me through my first year, I think, with a relatively unscathed because you answered all my ridiculous questions. So thank you for that.
Oh, they wouldn't have been ridiculous, but I still overdose now. I did it this weekend. Ruined Mother's Day completely because I was a space cadet.
Bless you. And then we did an on-stage appearance together, didn't we? In Portland, we were the glamorous.
We were brilliant. They loved us. Somebody messaged me about that the other day from America and said, "Were you the lady that did the singing with Emma?" And I went,
"Oh my God,
yes, that was I." And she said, "I thought you were brilliant." I said, "Well, I was totally pissed and dyskinetic, but
we looked very glamorous, I think."
We had people in tears, Emma. I don't know if they felt sorry for us or there were tears of laughter, but whatever.
Tears of like, please get off the stage and stop singing.
God, that was so scary, but it was such good fun.
It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it, and it was really nice to actually meet you after like talking to you for years, and then suddenly meeting you in person. It was very exciting.
Oh, bless you. I remember doing your hair and your makeup, and then having to get stripped off with the whole of Parkinsons UK, having a meeting in the next room, and I could see I've forgotten his name.
Steve Ford. Steve.
Yes, Steve Ford. Me standing in my knickers and bra and watching Steve Ford, thinking if he turned around any second, he's going to check out my butt.
He'd have been lucky if he had.
Oh, God, never mind.
So, Vicky, can you tell me a little bit about your diagnosis, please, if you don't mind?
I don't mind. I first had symptoms when I was 32, so back in 2004. And was diagnosed in 2007, so it took a long time, 3 years of going back and forwards, knowing, and I was nursing at the time, I knew things weren't right and knew it had to be neurological, and I thought it was MS, and I saw a consultant neurologist who specialised in Alzheimer's. I don't know, I was sent to him for a year, and I think he thought I had Munchausen's. He certainly didn't think there was anything wrong with me, and he was going to discharge me.
Wow.
And I kind of freaked, and he said, "All right, I'll send you to see a movement disorder specialist." So it was Valentine's Day 2007. Ken came with us, and I thought, right, Parkinson's had kind of been in my mind, but I thought more like the MS or brain tumour. But I hadn't died by that point, so I kind of still thought, well, it's probably MS. And a registrar told me and kind of said, was quite stern with me and said, "Vicky, there's nothing wrong with you. So in other words, you're hypochondriac, bugger off." And I just freaked, and I said, "Not leaving here until somebody who knows what they're talking about comes to see me." And in came Prof. Byrne, David Byrne, who was a pretty eminent doctor in neurology. And he came in, he felt my wrist, and he looked at her and he said, "She's got cold wheel rigidity." And I could tell by the way he said it, he wasn't impressed that she'd missed it, and got me to write the Mary Had a Little Lamb thing. And they had crap writing, had a Napoleon arm, no arm swing as he watched me walk. And he sat down and he just said, "Right, Vicky," and I said, "You think I've got Parkinson's, don't you?" And I expected him to say no, but he didn't. He said, "Yes, I do." And I felt like I'd been sucked into a black hole. I just couldn't believe he said that. Yeah. And he said, "We'll arrange for you to have a DAT scan because of your age. And basically, don't go and Google." Well, of course you're going to go and Google. Yeah. So we left, and I was like, I'd been crying, but I kind of snapped out of it, and I said, "Right, come on then, Ken, we're going to go and have this romantic dinner that we'd planned." And he was like, "What?" So we did. We went out for Valentine's Day dinner. And then I kind of came crashing to about 8 weeks it took me to get my head around it. And I had, I think, the DAT scan 2 weeks later, which I knew, by the time I had the DAT scan, I knew I had Parkinson's because I had such obvious symptoms. Yeah. And some people say it was a relief to know. I was totally devastated, totally and utterly devastated and ashamed and embarrassed, to be honest. Which sounds horrible, but one, as a nurse, you kind of like, who never ever got ill, ever.
Yeah.
I kind of couldn't believe that I was ill. And then something so, devastating to have Parkinson's at 35. And unbelievable. I just thought, this doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
But it does. And it happens to plenty of us, people like me. So, and I didn't tell anybody for a long time.
What were your symptoms when you were first diagnosed? Were they kind of, could you hide them?
Well, I had no arm swing in my left arm, and I'm left-handed. So writing at work, I used to write a lot of notes, obviously. My writing was illegible, and people used to say to me, God, Vicki, because I used to have really big writing. That was a massive thing. People used to always be complaining about what I'd written in the notes. And my arm was like, my fist was kind of like clenched kind of thing. It was so stiff. And people mentioned that a lot. I did have a tremor. But not, it was like a kinetic tremor. So if I was lifting my hand up to do something, I mean, I've got no tremor now at all.
Yeah.
And that's due to GGNF. But yeah, I had a tremor and my leg dragged as well. So I would trip up a lot as well.
Yeah.
And also, I thought in the early days my speech was affected, but I don't know whether that was more psychological.
I did as well, actually. I have to say, I thought my speech was, but it stopped feeling like that now. Maybe it's like an initial thing.
Yeah, same here. Did you used to feel like your mouth was stiff and you couldn't say your words properly?
I'd go to say something and I'd kind of like feel like I was tripping over it, like I had a tremor in my mouth or something sometimes. It was, I couldn't make the words.
I know exactly what you mean. And that, if you start talking to somebody, you used to feel like, oh my God. Yeah, it was horrible. That was a horrible symptom.
Yeah.
But the first time I ever noticed my tremor was during a resuscitation of a baby with meningococcal septicemia who died, unfortunately. And it was a really traumatic shift. And we were doing a fluid resuscitation, and as I was putting my hand up to do fluid stuff, I had this massive tremor. And I was the nurse, one of the nurses in charge on that shift. So I had to hold it together. And I'd always cope quite well with emergency situations, but I just couldn't get my hand stop shaking. And that's the first time I thought, what the friggin' hell's wrong with my hand?
Yeah. That's terrible.
So, I don't know. It's weird.
So what would you say is your most kind of troubling, annoying symptom now? What bothers you most about Parkinson's or the condition or the medication?
Dyskinesia. Like, I hate being dyskinetic, and I'm dyskinetic now. But I can be so dyskinetic, I can literally not even lie in the bed at night. It can make me almost choke myself out, like something from The Exorcist.
Really?
And I hate dyskinesia because it's so visual, and you can't. I kind of cannon through the house like a bull in a china shop, bouncing off walls and looking like a right wally. And I think it's exhausting as well.
Yeah,
I think
it's got to be.
It is, and your heart rate's up. You just. That's horrible, but the stiffness, there's so many horrible things. Insomnia does my head in.
Yeah.
Because if you don't sleep, you can't function the next day.
It's so ridiculous that your body's almost screwing itself by going, I'm not going to let you sleep, and then I'm going to screw you over tomorrow because you've had no sleep. So good luck with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then people, when you're stiff as well and you can't move, and people kind of try and do, what's it called? Like, try and get your mind off it as if that's going to make all the world of difference. Like, we'll do some therapy with her because she's putting it on again or something. People don't understand how you can suddenly turn off, switch off and switch on. They don't get that at all. So in their minds, we're putting it on.
I think it's because it's actually very difficult to describe Parkinson's sometimes, and because everyone has it differently, there is no one type of Parkinson. So I sort of understand why people don't get it, because to be fair, I don't really get it. Like, I want to, but I don't fully understand why things happen to me when they happen. Like, sometimes I'll be okay, sometimes I won't be. I can do the same things, take the medication at the same time, sleep the same amount of time, have one day that's amazing, one day that's crap, and then because I don't understand it, I can't explain it to anyone else. So it's like I kind of don't expect anyone else to get it, because I think, well, I've got it and I don't even understand what's going on.
I totally agree with that, and I find it, if I didn't have it, I would find it so much more interesting. Well, I do find it very interesting. Things like when I can't walk and move because I'm frozen, but I can put the radio on and I can boogie on out the kitchen or run backwards. What freaking hell is that for? And why the hell would you want to run backwards? What this? But it's ridiculous. But it makes me laugh. And I think you've got to always keep your sense of humour. Even in the darkest moments, you've always got to just think, Christ, if I'm having a bad day, tomorrow's another day.
Exactly. It can't take that away. It can try and take everything else, but it can't take your sense of humour. If you fight about it and you stick out with it and try and see the funny side of things, it does definitely help. And I think when we all have each other, we can laugh with each other as well. It's that kind of dark humour.
Having peer support is just crucial, and it's what gets all of us through. If we didn't have each other, we'd be buggered, I think, because it's so isolating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because everybody understands cancer, everybody understands broken leg or whatever, but they don't understand. Like you say, we don't get it, so why the friggin' hell should they?
Do you know what I found is really interesting is that having my neck like this and having a visual thing that is something that people understand. People see my neck, they see the neck brace, they understand that something's gone wrong with my neck. People try and help me, whereas when I have just Parkinson's, people don't really know what to do. And it's really funny that this is like a real thing they get. They understand this is something that's kind of natural to them. They understand what to do and how to help, and the fact that I have problems. Whereas people get stressed with me normally because they don't. There is a visual cue, but it's one they don't understand, and that doesn't commute. It's like 35-year-old girl shaking is not really something they understand. The way that people respond to you when you need them to respond really changes the way you feel about your Parkinson's, I think. I think the people that are around you and how they cope, what they say, what they do. I've definitely had situations where people have made me feel really shitty about it, and it's like then I feel shitty about it. I get resentful of it. Whereas if someone just very casually just kind of goes, well, like this guy once just came up to me in the street and he said, "You've got Parkinson's, haven't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You've got foot dystonia, haven't you? Do you want me to wait and stand and talk to you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be amazing, thank you." And I was like, "Yes, awesome! Like, you don't even know me, and you're nailing it."
So fine. Well, it happened to me on a train, on a Virgin train. I was going to stay with Lindsay Isaacs, and it was a really busy train. I said to the train guy, "Look, I'm having a really bad day. I've got Parkinson's. I've got 2 suitcases because we were going to America." I said, "Can you help me? I might not need any help, but can you just come and check that I don't need any help getting off the train?" And of course, by the time it got to my stop, the train was heaving. He was nowhere to be seen. He'd obviously forgotten. And I had to ask these strangers, I'd say, is anybody getting off now? Can somebody help me? And you feel like such a nerd because people look at you as if, so what the hell's wrong with it?
Yeah.
But this guy and his son, the guy held my hand and just like helped me along. I was so bloody relieved, and his son carried my suitcases.
It makes you panic for the whole journey because you basically sit there and you worry about it because you're thinking, how am I going to get off? I'm going to miss my stop. It's stressful enough getting off with big bags if you're able-bodied, but if you've got something going on, it's anything like that. I get really tense about it. It kind of really riles me up because
you worry about the whole journey, like you say, and then it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Because I think with me, I don't know about you, but my mental health makes a huge difference to my Parkinson.
Definitely.
And stress just blows it out the window.
If I'm trying to go to a meeting and I'm trying to navigate and I'm on my phone and I'm running late, I'm like pressing everything, I'm swiping, I get more stressed, I end up booking Ubers for myself that I don't need, I'm all over the place. And I end up normally having to try and find someone and just saying, "Can you just put your finger on this map where I am and just hold it for a sec?" It's just because I'm whizzing around and stuff. I get so stressed. And then now with my neck being like this, if I go and ask anyone, they just ignore me because they think I'm like some sort of vagrant or something, just coming to try and rob them.
It's honestly, people have no frigging idea.
Yeah.
They really don't. And they think because you've got your eyeliner on, your lippy on, you must be fine.
Yeah.
But they have no idea how hard it is.
It's definitely, everything's a challenge. Everything is a challenge.
It is. I couldn't get my knickers on the other day. I thought, oh God, I'll just have to go without, but it's a bit cold.
My friend came over the other day and I basically had unlocked the door for her, and then she came in and I was just sat on the floor with my jeans around my ankle with dystonia, just going, "I'll be with you in a sec, don't worry." Just all upside down with jeans around my ankles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a mum. You do lots of kind of Parkinson's ambassador stuff. You have a business. You have your amazing tea thing, your little tea van thing, and your amazing crafts that you make. How do you juggle all the things that you do and your Parkinson's symptoms? How do you kind of cope?
Badly, I think sometimes. I think the crafty stuff is an addiction. It's part of my compulsivity caused by the drugs.
So
I never was that arty-farty in my life. I never bloody did anything. I'm always covered in paint, hence there's paint on my boob there. I've had to hide it with a scarf. I paint the dog if I could, honestly. Honestly, the amount of, if you looked around my house, you'd be mortified because there's half walls painted, there's skirting boards, half, you know, and then I don't like it, so I kind of sanded it off. I can often be in like a pig in muck, happy, covered in glitter and paint, and have done nothing all day. And Ken will come in and say, "What's for tea?" And there's bugger all in the house.
There's glitter for tea, Ken. There's glitter for tea. That's what you're having.
Yeah, glitter and glue. Like it. The caravan was another mental buy. The rest of my savings, I found this vintage caravan and decided I was going to open up a property room, thinking it would be really easy. It's been really hard work. What's been hardest has been finding people who can support me and help me do it. But I've got the most amazing support worker called Paul, who is like my guardian angel, and he never gets cross with me. Every time we go anywhere, it's an adventure. Something always goes wrong. I've always cocked something up and forgotten half of the stuff. But we always have a brilliant time. I think the kids definitely did suffer in the early days when I was on top dose agonists. I was like, I was living in cloud la la land in a pink bubble of fluff and just so self-absorbed, and I can see that now, and I have massive guilt issues about that, because I think it turned me, I'm not saying everybody, but Rapinarole turned me into a selfish bitch. It really did. And I didn't a lot of me kind of thought, oh, I deserve this, I deserve to buy this, or I deserve to go on holiday here because I've got Parkinson's, and actually I needed a good slap on the chops. Yeah, I drive people mad. I drive my kids mad, and I drive my partner mad, Ken mad, but they're still around, so yeah. I don't know how sometimes, because I don't think I would be if it was the
because you're lovely and you're very sweet and you're a very genuine person.
I'm driving the party. I mean, like Mother's Day, the boys had planned to take me to the seaside for the day, and because I was talking too much when we were like having a cup of tea that morning and taking my meds, I took my meds twice, and I was so ruined the whole day. Aww. I was like, basically, and I was so upset because James doesn't live at home anymore. You know, he's left home, he works full time. So time with them is really precious, and I bloody buggered it up because I'm so ditzy.
You can't help it.
I want to slap my own face sometimes.
You'd miss though. You'd miss if you're anything like me. And I've just realised, this is the irony. I haven't taken my meds. Hang on, let me just grab them.
Oh, bless you. So Emma, do you tell blokes that you've got Parkinson's when you meet them for new blokes?
Yes. So I'm on dating sites and stuff, and I put on there that I have Parkinson's, and I always tell people straight away. And obviously with the neck, I'm having to tell people now that I have neck problems, because some people have like turned up to meet me and been like, "Shit, what have you done? You seem to be upside down."
But how cool is that? That I'm not saying because that was one of my things when I was first diagnosed, and it sounds really shallow, really vain. I thought nobody ever, because me and Ken have got a very volatile up and down relationship, and sometimes I think it's how the hell are we still together? But we have split up a few times, and I thought, I'll be on my own. Nobody will want me because I've got Parkinson's. But it's bollocks.
No, not at all. I mean, I think it takes people a while to get to the point that we're at, which is that we've sort of. It's quite difficult. You're almost expecting people to come to terms with it very quickly and not be okay with it, but just almost not want to fix you all the time, just to be able to like have fun with you and have a good day with you and have a nice date and stuff. But
I think if the man has Parkinson's and the woman is the carer kind of thing, it's better.
Oh my God, this is my point exactly. I was telling someone this the other day.
Yeah,
men don't know how to deal with it.
If you're a woman who's got Parkinson's, you're more likely to be on your own. No, and I wrote about it actually on one of the American Women for Parkinson's groups on Facebook, and I said there's a lot of women with lots of different kinds of chronic conditions where there's more abuse, more emotional abuse, more domestic violence, definitely, and that's something that's never addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I think. Yeah, you're so right. Basically, men with Parkinson's, women are a lot better generally at caring in the right way, emotionally astute to how someone's feeling and not bulldozing in with and like imposing how they feel about it. Whereas men are a bit terrible at doing that. I'm talking generally here. There's some great men out there, but I'm yet to meet anyone that can handle it.
Yeah, I have to admit, we're probably going to get shouted at and be told, you know, being sexist, all the rest of it, but it's true.
So, you spoke very, very openly in a TV documentary about your struggles with Parkinson's, which was called Sex, Lies and Parkinsons, is that right?
It was, yeah. It was epic. And it was hated by so many people. And I'll tell you why it was hated, because I bloody well told the truth about dopamine agonists. I know some pretty horrendous stuff, and all that stuff needs to come out. We need to get more help about the compulsive behaviours, and we're still miles off. I had an interview with a psychologist who was doing research and wanted to talk to me about my experiences and how they can kind of move forward and help people with you know, the ICDs. But I had so many people from the Parker community slate me about it.
Yeah.
And that's what really hurt me, because I thought, I'm trying to do something here. I'm trying
to help, trying to open the doors. Yeah.
There are things that people have no idea about. I mean, it's sold as a sex drug on the black market in America.
Really?
And it's likened to being on crack cocaine and ecstasy. So, and my sister, who's a counsellor, well, she was a counsellor, she's not now. She worked in drug and alcohol rehab, and she said, Vicki, you've got addict behaviour, but the problem is you're being given those drugs and you've got to take those drugs. But,
yeah.
So, yeah. And people don't realise the hell that you go through with those drugs.
And they basically give them to you, and they give you a slight warning, and they sort of say, oh, you might get some kind of addictive behaviour, but, you know, don't worry about it. It probably won't happen to you.
I wrote an article, but there's a brilliant photo that goes with the article. It's me painting the hallway in the middle of the night with a paintbrush that was about that big, bright red, the Annie Sloan red again. But I knocked the tin of paint over the stair carpet, so on a cream carpet, a new carpet, so there's red paint everywhere. By that point, I was just in the middle of painting and caught up with it, so I thought, well, fuck that, I've ruined the carpet. I plunged it all over the wooden floor in the hallway. It was everywhere. It looked like a chainsaw massacre. The Ken got up because he made this funny noise. He got up and he took a photo of me. He said, and I look in this photo mental, because he said, what the hell are you doing? And I was just like, I want decorating. I made such a pig's ear, so it cost me a fortune. But I also had to think about baking cakes.
Yeah. And
making meringues was the top thing, and I couldn't do it. So I burnt out 2 hand whisks and realised that the whisk bits fitted into his Black & Decker drill. Well, can you imagine? There was bloody egg white everywhere. I mean, he was just like, he used to come in from work and just be like, what the freaking hell have you done now?
That's so funny. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's so funny.
Mental. And the crafty stuff, painting pieces of furniture time and time again and then stripping it back. I mean, it's mental.
I got a bit craft addicted, I have to say. I set up a small business where I was making stuff. My house was filled with it. My ex-boyfriend was mental at me all the time because every bit of cupboard had something under it. Everything had things everywhere that was permanently covered in paint all the time. And I just... Oh yeah! If I
took you into my dining room, you'd laugh your head off. There's a wardrobe in the dining room full of shit. And it's all half done. And then he did the worst thing, which was buy me a cricket machine. Have you seen them?
Are they those ones that...
It's all singing and all dancing, but after a year and a bit, I still make shit things on it. And you look on YouTube, and they've made all these things you can make loads of money and make this, that, and t'other. The amount of money I've spent on vinyl and paint, and still never produced anything that looks decent. Oh god,
it's ridiculous because things like that seem quite craft addiction. It sounds quite twee, and it seems quite harmless, but actually, when it's taking over your life, you become obsessed with it. You're spending lots of money on it. You're not sleeping. Yeah. It's harmful. It's as harmful as sex addiction. Really, you're just not really hurting anyone.
Oh god.
Well, I have to say I have a lot of admiration for you for speaking out on that kind of documentary, because I think it's something that's really important that people need to talk about.
It cost me my career, Emma. I didn't get sacked. I walked away from it, and that was the job that I absolutely loved, and it cost me dearly. But I seriously believe that my time in nursing then was done because I was supposed to move on and do something else.
Yeah.
And I was shunned by so many people and thought of as some kind of ditzy airhead who was a slut the heathen hussy from Hexham, I used to say. And I was made to take time off work unpaid because I could be a threat to male members of staff, male children, and just males generally. And I was devastated. And I threw the disability discrimination book at them, and I went, you know, it got me nowhere. The NHS has, you know, got a big carpet to sweep me under. I meant nothing. So I walked before they pushed me.
So you took part in the recent GGNF trial. I know you can't really say a huge amount about it, but is there anything you can kind of say about it, about what it was like as an experience to go through it? Or
I feel very proud to have been part of that, and I was one of the first 6 in Bristol to have had the surgery, and that itself is weird. And I kind of think our destiny in many ways is set out before us, and I think I'm not saying we've got this for a reason, or you know, but I think a lot of us have turned a negative into a positive, and we've taken hold of our own destiny to a certain extent. It's kicked me in the teeth, but it kicked me up the arse, and it made me phone up Lucy, the nurse who was recruiting patients, and just say, "Hey, I heard you're doing this trial. Do you want me?" And it was weird because they had 6 patients. One of them wasn't suitable, and there was 1 place left. So I felt like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
oh my god!
So I went down. It was amazing, and the team were amazing. I can't praise them enough. Let's just say things haven't been as easy as we thought, but that's not because GGNF didn't work. Various things, we're waiting for the results to be published at the minute. Very frustrating. There seems to be a lot of red tape. When the results are published, then you'll be able to see the BBC 2 documentary that's been filmed over the last 5 years by Jemima Harrison and Hermina Campbell, and all I can say is it will blow people's minds. It's made me go shivery even talking about it, and it's got my hero Tom in it, which people will absolutely get them talking about it. But Tom, the bits I've seen of Tom in this film are so amazing, and he will continue to move mountains from up there. I'm telling you.
He's done so much in his lifetime that he just continues to. He's still continuing to do stuff now.
God. People hear about this documentary and watch him and see what that man did. You know, it will just, like I said, it will blow minds. It will, and the BBC plan to show that worldwide.
Amazing.
And I think the outcry, or I think the documentary will change the future of GGNF for the better.
Let's hope so. What would you say to Parkinson's if it was sat in front of you now?
Well, it's weird because I used to hate it. There are days when I hate it, but I have respect for it. I don't always understand it, but it's, in a way, Parkinson's has given me more than it's taken away, which sounds bizarre, but it's made me reflect on who I am, on what I want out of life. It's made me a better person, I think.
Same.
I'll still say, why could you have chosen some other bugger? But if I hadn't had Parkinson's, I would still be working on the ward. I wouldn't have gone on to do my specialist nursing job. I wouldn't have gone to travel to America with you, or Canada, or Dublin, or, you know, I wouldn't have been an Olympic torchbearer.
Exactly.
Which is just here, by the way, my torch.
Just casually.
It's got fairy lights stuck up its bum, which I've got wedged in. So it doesn't even look bloody useless bugger. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done so many things. And I wouldn't have met the most amazing people, because Parkinson's people, there's something about us. We are all a bit crazy, but we're also very supportive. They're the best people I know. They're the bravest people I know.
Definitely.
Definitely.
What piece of advice would you give a newly diagnosed person?
Don't think about your future, because I can't go there. Just live each day as it comes. Empower yourself. Learn as much as you can. But don't be too scared, because everything takes a hell of a long time, and none of us know what's going to be around the corner. And don't listen when they say 5 years or 10 years, because that's all bollocks.
They don't know, they're just guessing.
It drives me mad. Just know that you're not going to be like anybody else. and take it as it comes. And there will be good times, but there will be bad times, but that's life.
Yeah. Yeah, very wise.
And Parkinson's is a tiny part of who we are.
Yes.
I mean, yes, it does affect our lives, but we are so much more than just Parkinson's. So that's all I would say.